That's my moment of silence. Give it up for Sarah Holbrook!
When I say I'd rather not, and you try to change my mind, and I tell you I don't want to, and you ask me one more time, and you tell me that I have to, and I start to squint my eyes in firm determination, and your volume amplifies. When you turn your voice to scream because you think that works, you're wrong. I can turn my ears to numb. Your yelling makes my stutter strong. Yeah, I do write for teenagers. It helps to have a major case of arrested development. I qualify in that department. I was reading to some kids once at a school, and afterwards, it's magic time in assemblies. You know, I say, do you have any questions? And a kid raised her hand and asked me a question. I thought, who is this person she's asking me about? So I called home and asked my daughter. A couple weeks later, I'm in front of another assembly. Kid asked me the same question. I'm thinking, what? And so I called home, told my daughter, and I said, you won't believe what happened again. Third time I had to write a poem about it. Here's the question. Are you famous? Do you know Britney Spears? Sincere, she stands her query before me, leaning into one hip. A little too much of her wedged into those jeans. Hair cornrowed into multicolored rubber bands, a littered face that glistens with excitement under a Maybelline oil slick. The girl in question is a student of two worlds. One, this vocational high school in Van Wert, Ohio, and the one she really studies through a flickering keyhole in her living room, the hot tub of fantasy where the famous cavort, newscasters and models elbow to elbow with rock stars and poets. How do I tell her that on the road to fame and fortune, I have hooked my wobbly wagon to the bumper of a battered microbus? That I'm riding without a seatbelt, no springs to absorb the shocks of the road, that I spend more time counting telephone poles and airport turnstiles than writing or performing, that today my checkbook, my gas tank, and my energy level are all flashing empty. When packed in my briefcase is a shrill-voiced little girl with hockey stick legs, who used to stand on a green plastic stool in the living room, set the maple console record player to stereophonic, and belt out Hills Alive Julie Andrew imitations. Before I even knew the joke of karaoke or female impersonators. Well, if this girl with the tattered backpack realizes that I came in a Honda and not in a limo, that I do not have an entourage or a personal trainer, while my neighbors barely even know me by sight, that I have to hurry home to turn off the iron and empty the cat box, will that take the spotlight out of her smile? I don't want to do that. Not after she's told me with breezy confidence that she's going to be a model, even though she's studying to be a manicurist for now. I tear at a rough cuticle that's starting to bleed. Do I burst into a chorus of climb every mountain, ford every stream, follow every rainbow? Well, I know the score on that one. Well, she's already 17, and she missed out on the Mouseketeer gig that might have given her legs up like Britney. But there is still hope for her, isn't there? Expectant smile. She wants words from the other side of the screen that, in fact, there is a place outside of Van Wert, Ohio. And even if it's not exactly like you see on TV, I mean, everybody knows that the world of possibility exists. And there might be some room for her there. So are you famous or what? I dip my hand into my pocket before I'm tempted to bite off the offending cuticle. Not yet, I answer. That's okay, she's reassuring. When I get to be a model, I'll look you up. Her doe deer eyes shine as I hand her my card. Poetry's taken me all kinds of bizarre places. Here's one about right here in Cleveland, though. When my parking meter on this earth flashes red, with no more time to file extensions with the government or loved ones, no more time to cheat another train or traffic light, I'll be running late. with an empty gas tank, 2,000 miles overdue for an oil change, missing my keys, my sunglasses, one glove. For sure I'll be needing an aspirin, out of dog food, and without the right shoes to wear. Give me an incomplete in errands. I'll take the moving violation, but please don't sentence me to some irreversible space on this concrete strip stretch of bargain warehouses built to outfit the supersized electronic appetites of all those special sauce consumers. Please don't bury me on Brook Park Road. When I've punched the snooze button for the last time, I don't want to wind up pew wedged between the honk and wheeze of Mr. Donut and Mr. Muffler across from the pawn shop, marooned at the crossroads of more. More billboards, more tacos, more mattresses, nail shops, and temporary stops on this path to the landfill for rental cars, wastebaskets, and girls bearing ass for more. More cat beds, more tennis racket teddy bear welcome signs collectively designed for ease and obsolescence. When the non-transferable terms on my desk drawer of lifetime warranties run out, don't plant me beside this hurried stream of humanity, its pace accelerating frantically as it tapers into the purchase of today at crazy low prices, guaranteed to satisfy for 6 months, or 10,000 miles, whichever is less, our burning hunger for more, as advertised, now available in tall. I may never live years sufficient to organize that jumble of shoes on my closet floor, their recycled boxes now stuffed with photos, or send out thank you notes for the decades of gifts stored in my basement. But I've already traveled far enough and long to know this shop-lined road designed for thousands, with fluorescent in and out signage engineered to facilitate the purchase of more, only makes me lose my way. When I'm no longer a worthwhile citizen, able to consume my projected per annum of sugar, caffeine, and fossil fuel. When I've ripened into just another commercial has-been, aged beyond distinction with the aftermarket potential of a spent buttercup, I'm certain to be interrupted by finality mid-task. But no longer in need of a cash machine, new tires, or a matching lipstick. When it's my turn to yield to those oncoming, please, just let me crawl under some unbranded rock inconveniently located on a back road to nowhere. The earth will take me back without receipt. And wherever I'm headed, I won't need shoes. Michael and I went to hear a poet, a friend of mine who also writes for children, she also writes for adults, Nikki Grimes, before he came here, and she talked about the quality of love in poetry. So I thought I'd do a couple on that theme. And I have one on democracy because we did have an election this week. So if I have time, I'll do the democracy one. Whereas they're all love poems to me. Here's a little short one. Turned and once you've seen it fleet away and felt the rush of its escape, once you've purchased that balloon and witnessed its deflate, once you've held by slender strings the color burst of bliss, experienced the loss, cognizant of cost, could you, by chance, believe a kiss again? And here's one I actually wrote for another Cleveland poet named Mary Weens.
Hey. Yeah. She's tentative.
Well, we were signed up to do a poetry reading once at the Red Star. Remember the Red Star?
Yeah.
The Red Star. Missed the Red Star. And we had signed up, I put in my little date book for February 14th. I forget what year. And I called her up a few weeks before the reading. I said, Mary, did it occur to you that this reading we're doing is on Valentine's Day? She said, so? And I said, well, I thought we could have a theme for the reading. She said, like what? This is before she met James. And I said, well, I said, love, Mary. I thought we could do some love poems. And she said, She said, I don't have any love poems. And I said, well, Mary, I've heard you read heartbreak poems. I said, don't you ever write anything going into these things, only on the way out? She said, Sarah, at my age, she said, I don't even know if I could write a love poem anymore. So I wrote this for Mary. To write a love poem is to bring the length of chaos into shortened lines. It is a cataloging of the unutterable, a labeling of sighs, a flirtation with the tritely sentimental, a marking off of starts, a polishing of finishes. It is making love, no hands. Naturally, it helps to be symptomatic, preferably yearning or dwindling, for at the crest of the wave, who is inclined toward holding just a pen? But where do you go when all those breathless, I'm gonna have to use the book. I can't believe that. I'm so sorry. Hang on, you guys. I must have read this poem 100 times. Maybe 1,000.
Getting older.
I think that might be it. And that and the cold medicine is screwing up my brain.
Got any more?
Yeah.
You got a sign for
I
it?
see. But where do you go? All those breathless symptoms now throb with the cold, rough bones of last summer's corn at the bottom of the compost heap of memory. How do you reorder them for recollection? And further, how do you project them onto someone else's understanding? How do you write a love poem? Well, since none ever arrive general delivery, you must first purchase a ticket to a I'm gonna miss this whole thing out. You must first purchase a ticket. Oh, you guys.
To a place you've never been.
Thank you. To a place you've never been. I can't find it on the page. To a place that you've never been. Without agent cash or credit, send a telegram to one you've yet to meet and invite him to that spot you can't ever say you've never been before again. Let her set the date. Never agree to a time and try not to show up late. Now wait. Not even for a moment. Pack your bag, leave it behind, jump the outbound train, never leave your desk, carefully define your limits. Always answer yes. Record the sweep of every sunset. Forget it with the dawn. Research these facts endlessly, then make it up as you go along. Since travel is unlimited, confine yourself to one stone balcony in Spain. When the audience of stars is seated, promise never to rhyme a love is death warmed over to those of us over 17. It was killed by the schemes and the patterns and revived by the tides. It is the wisdom of the senseless to open up a heart, a surgery of our naked selves. Its pieces offered about to make us whole. So here, take this pebble and place it in the door before it clicks completely closed and strip. Go on. Go stand naked on that balcony. Smell the songs as they lift themselves from the festival below. Listen for the gardenias and find that single slender spot still warm from the days gone sun. Now take your paper and without detriment of pen, record the complete history of time, of your life, and of your parents in your choicest words. Now brace yourself against a stone wall and throw the paper into the street. Focus on the dizzy, drifting paper. Feel the falling, but not the fall. Inhale yourself upright, but not around it, lifting the hair from your nape with rotation of both wrists. Stand still as the moon. The poem will come and kiss you on the neck. Just a reminder, if you're going to do something by heart, always practice it that same day. I've been writing poems for my kids for a really long time, and they got used to it. You know, they do something funny, and I'd write some funny, like the dog ate my daughter's report card once, and I wrote a poem called The Dog Ate My Homework. Unfortunately, once I'm gone, it'll probably the only thing I'll ever be remembered for. Anyway, and so they kind of get used to it. My daughter Kelly went away to college at Ohio Wesleyan, and I picked up the phone one day in the kitchen, and she said, "Mom, could you write a poem for my friend Wendy? She shot herself on Tuesday. The memorial service is next week." And I thought, Lord, I can't make a joke out of that one. So this is for Wendy. A book. So much a part of our lives seems lost somewhere, out of place. We drag about the house in heavy shoes, examining the empty room. We open the blinds and wash our eyes and search the shelf for answers, thinking, what could I have done with that book? Where did I see it last? Could a book just wander off like that? Questions that throw at the moon, while standing rooted in the shadows, remembering the story. The story. Remember the time, remember the page, remember the chapter, remember the smile. A book can get lost, disappear, or simply fall to pieces. But a story stays forever once we've taken it to heart. And for the rest of what each of us will know of eternity, whenever we drag about the house in heavy shoes, wash our eyes and search the shelf for answers, that story will remain to coax us from the empty room and back into the moonlight. A sister teaching us to dance. Well, I'm just going to finish with a little funny thing, because you asked me about banned poems, okay?
I love
So a
banned
quick
poems.
little story and a quick banned poem. This is a banned poem from Delta Peach Bottom, Pennsylvania. That's where it was banned. And I was visiting schools there all week. Thursday, I go into I find out that the school on Friday has banned all my books. Not only did they ban all my children's books, they sent a letter home to parents saying, if you bought these books for your kids, send them back. You don't have enough sense to pick out your own kids' books. So I went to talk to the principal. He was a very angry white man, big red veins standing out on his neck. And he's waving around my book, The Dog Ate My Homework. Now I think of this as sort of an innocent book, right? It's just funny poems about school. And he said, it was a dangerous book, and it has you want to hear the banned poem? I'll tell you what happened. Okay, here's the banned poem. Okay, I said you were a pig face because I wanted to be mean. I said you'd never need a costume when it comes to Halloween. I said you were a dip brain with a twisted attitude. I said that no one likes you, which I guess was pretty rude. Words are automatic weapons, and I fired the first name. It isn't easy to admit it, but this time I take the blame. I didn't aim to kill. I want our friendship back on track. I could have made it worse. I could have talked behind your back. Okay. When I said you were a cockroach, it wasn't to be kind, but don't stay mad forever. My anger changed its mind. So this is the poem he was pointing to, right, in the book. And I said, well, I understand, sir, that you don't want the kids to engage in name-calling, but you know, if you read the poem at the end, it kind of says name-calling doesn't work. We could use this as a teachable moment. He said, no. He said, that's not it. He said, we have a zero-tolerance policy in this school for violence. That poem has an automatic weapon in it. And I think if I'd been a parent in that district, I would have been a lot more worried about the fact that my principal didn't understand figurative language than I would have been a second year bringing Uzi to school. So there you go.
Thank you.
All right, one more piece. And I hope I don't
One more,
screw it
one
up.
more.
All right, wait a minute. I have a signature poem. I'll do it. Nicole Messon doesn't goof me up. This is the reason we came in second at the Slam in 1995, because I went overtime. Before and after, we stand separate, stuck to the same beer-soaked floor, fragrance facing the same restroom mirror, adjusting loose hairs, mine blonde, hers purple. Fumbling for lipsticks, mine pink, hers black. A color I couldn't wear anyway, since that convention of lines gathered around my mouth about a year ago won't leave. We avoid eye contact. Both of us are afraid of being carded. Mature, I suppose I should speak, but what can I say to the kind of hostility that turns hair purple and lips black? Excuse me. I know I never pierced my nose, but hey, I was revolting once too. Back before I joined the PTA, when Wonder Bras meant, where'd I put that? I rebelled against the government system, the male-female system, the corporate system, you name it. I marched, I chanted, I demonstrated. And when shit got passed around, I was there, sweetheart. Then I inhaled. Does she know that tear gas makes your nose run worse than your eyes? Would she believe that I was a volunteer when they called chicks up front? Because no matter what kind of hand-to-hand combat the helmeted authoritarians may have been engaged in at home, they were still hesitant to hit girls with batons in the streets, chicks up front. And we marched, and we marched, and we marched right back home where we bore the children we were not going to bring into this mad world. And we brought them home to the houses we were never going to wallpaper in those Laura Ashley prints. We joined the corporate mongers we were not going to let supervise our lives. And we skyrocketed to middle management positions, accepting less money than we were never going to take anyway and spending it on the Barbie dolls we were not going to buy for our daughters. And after each party for our comings and goings, we whisked the leftovers into dustpans, debriefing and talking each other down from the drugs and the men as if they were different. Resuscitating one another as women do, mouth to mouth. And that some of those that we put up front really did get beaten down. And others now bathe themselves daily in Prozac to maintain former freshness. Shall I explain what tedious work it is putting role models together? And how sometimes strategic pieces get sucked up by this vacuum? And while we intended to take one giant leap for womankind, I wound up taking one small step alone. What can I say at that moment our eyes meet in the mirror, which they will? What can I say to purple hair, black lips, and a nose ring? What can I say? Take care. Thank you.